Hello, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box just below this video. And here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting and spinning and crochet and weaving. And sometimes you'll also find me chatting about my adventures as a small bricks and mortar yarn shop owner. As you can see, I'm recording from my local beach today. I'm so lucky, this is literally less than 10 minutes walk away from my house. As you can see, the beach is pretty empty again this morning, so I'm just hanging out for a few minutes before I head off on the rest of my walk, just to enjoy the sounds of the sea, a little bit of blue sky, although there's also some grey sky in the other direction too, before I head home. And once I get home I'll chat to you about what I have been making this week, but before that I shall let you enjoy a little bit of scenery here and the sound of the sea. You enjoyed that little bit of footage from the beach this morning. It's now about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm sat up in my craft attic and ready to show you what I've been working on this week, as well as the things that I've been working on. I have got one acquisition to show you at the end, a little bit of a chat about the cows that we are hosting over in the Yarn and Yarns Ravelry group. I hope you will stick around till the end for those too. First off, I'm going to start with crochet this week. I have been trying to work on the test crochet that I'm doing for the lovely Amanda, who is Master Yarnsmith, but I'm finding work on it pretty slow. Not because there's anything wrong with the pattern or anything like that. I just can't seem to motivate myself. Which is really bad when the test deadline is just a couple of weeks away and I've barely got started. So I really need to push my focus to this project this week. In the Catacombs crop top, as I say, for Amanda, and I am working on the back panel at the moment. The last you saw this last week, I was just about to finish the first pattern repeat. So as you can see, I've finished that, and I've also now finished the first pattern repeat in the main colour. So you can quite clearly see the sort of skull motif coming through on that project now. I'm using Rowan Cotton Glacé in the blood orange colourway, and this is a chocolate brown. I'm not sure what the shade is called. My crochet mojo is very low at the moment, but hopefully I will have some decent progress to show for this next week. Some of the rows really fly by because obviously this pattern is quite open. So yeah, the rows kind of fly along. Hopefully I shall have a good bit of progress on this. If I do one, I've got to do I think 7 or 8 pattern repeats in total. So I figure if I can do one pattern repeat a day, then by the end of the week hopefully the back of this will be almost finished. It's a crop top, so once I get going it really shouldn't take long. I'm crocheting mine on a 4mm hook. I think the pattern calls for a 4.25, but that's a size that we don't really get here in the UK. I'm usually a looser knitter and crocheter, so I figured a 4mm would probably suit me okay, and yeah, it's definitely working out fine. That's the sum of my crochet this week. Not much to show, but a row here, a row there, and I'm sure I will make progress. Just need to prioritise this a little bit more. On to spinning. So spinning this week, I have got a finished spin and a spin in progress to show you. So my finished spin is this beauty, a really lovely textured yarn that I've been working on my wheel this week, and I have been recording the process of making this because I carded up the fibre on my hand carders before I spun it. So in the next couple of days, hopefully there will be a video showing this from fibre to yarn. I managed to do lots of spinning in my garden last week because it was really quite nice and sunny, and I had a lot of my afternoons were free. I managed to find some time to sit in the sunshine and enjoy, so I think that should be quite a nice video. This yarn is a chain ply, and that means there are 3 plies of yarn to make up the sort of single strand, and it's quite textured, quite fun. The fibre was sent to me by Julie, who sent me a package a little while ago. I haven't yet measured how many metres I got from this yarn. There's quite a lot here, and I've got another little sample skein which I showed off last week to work with too, and I'm hoping to knit this into either 1, maybe 2 gnomes, one that I hope to give away here on the channel very soon. I am super pleased with the fun textures in this yarn, and I can't wait to cast on. I might actually treat myself and do that this afternoon. On my wheel at the moment, I'm still working on the yellow, brown and green fibre that I showed off last week. I've spun all of the singles and I am almost done with the plying, so that yarn is really close to being finished. I just could not quite get it finished yesterday. On my spin in progress that I do have to show you, I'm working on my drop spindle at the moment, and this was a lovely spindle that was gifted to me by my friend Sal. Hi Sal. And it's this gorgeous wooden spindle painted with bees and lavender, and on this I am spinning up some Manx Lofton fibre. I've never spun with this before. I purchased this at Wonderwall, and again the fibre is quite textured. This was my first attempt at carding up and trying to make some rolags on my carders. As you can see, this one is really not much of a rolag at all, but I promise I have got better with that technique. And hopefully that will show in the video that I post later on this week. But this is a really fun coral colour with flecks of yellow and orange and a little bit of brown every now and then. Again, it's going to make a really fun textured yarn, and I'm really enjoying spinning this. This spindle is a dream to work with. It's got this really gorgeous lavender and bee decoration underneath as well, and every time I come up here into the craft attic for any reason at all, whether it's just to grab something or try and tidy something or record, then I'm grabbing this spindle and spinning for a minute or 2. So hopefully in the not too distant future, by doing that, this spin will also get finished. Really nice to try out these different types of fibre, and this week I'm really enjoying the textured yarns rather than aiming for a sort of nice smooth finished yarn. It's just really fun to see how these are going to spin and what they come out like. I really like it. It's like almost tweedy with these kind of like flecks of yellow poking through. There's a little bit of red up here and some brown. Yeah, really fun. Finally, on to knitting. I have 2 finished objects and a work in progress, which is really almost a finished object. So the first finished object I made in secret. I was knitting away in secret to make something to go into a swap package. The package was sent off last week, and I know that the item has been received. So before I popped it in the package, I recorded a little bit of a snippet about what I've been making. So I'll insert that video here for you. I've been doing a little bit of secret knitting to go off into a swap package. So I'm about to send the package off today, but I thought I'd show you what I've made before it disappears. So no surprise, I have made another gnome. So I used the gnome is where you hang your hat pattern. You might have seen another one of these on my video a couple of weeks ago. This is the most recent mystery knit along for the gnomes, and the original pattern has some colour work, but I decided just to use the pattern. I really like this super long hat, So I just picked some hand spun out of my stash and knitted according to the pattern and left the colour work out. So the yellow yarn is actually not my hand spun. It was a little skein of hand spun that was gifted to me quite a while ago, probably at least 3 years ago, maybe even longer, and I've been hoarding it in my stash because at that time when I received it I didn't spin myself, so it was this like super precious skein of yarn that I didn't want to use. And it's still a super precious skein of yarn, which is why I've used it for a lovely swap package. But I thought it was time to actually get it out and knit with it. And it's made a really, really beautiful gnome. The orange beard was what was left over from the little skein of handspun that I made recently. And I used this same colour on the beard of my version of the gnome is where you hang your hat. For this one I decided not to do that curly beard that's on the original pattern, but to revert back to one of the traditional beards. So I kind of adapted it a little bit because I needed the beard to be a little bit longer, but once you've made a few of these, you know, it's not that hard to make those sorts of changes. I also used the orange for the bottom of the gnome, and I managed to run out of the yellow, so the top of his arms are also made in that orange, but I've used every single scrap of the yellow and every single scrap of that orange now, which makes me really happy. And I added bells on again, you probably hear it jingling away. So hopefully this is going to make the recipient smile when she receives it in her spot package. The second finished object that I have was not even a work in progress, I don't think, when I recorded last week. Maybe a teeny tiny work in progress. I know I chatted about it on some of the vlogs this week, so if you've watched those then the project won't be entirely a surprise. I've been keeping this in my batik fabric bag. I made this myself a little while ago. This really reminds me of moons, and so I really love this one. But I picked it for the colour, because there seems to be a lot of purple on this episode this week, given the yarn and my finished object. And I have been test knitting a lovely shawl pattern for my friend Charlie, who is Yarn Ambassador here on YouTube and on Instagram, and I think she's Charlie Button over on Ravelry. This shawl design will be coming soon. I agreed to test knit for her, and it really flew off the needles really quickly. It's been a beautiful meditative knit and just what I required this week. It's made from double knit yarn. I used Debbie Bliss Rialto for the main body of the yarn, and as you can see it's mostly garter stitch with this lovely drop stitch row every now and then to make this really sort of long crescent shape. And then for the edging you swap to a 4-ply yarn, and you just need a 20-gram mini, and it's held double with some mohair. And there's a bit of lace patterning on the border just to give it a little bit of interest. And so for my border I used a mini skein that I picked up on my travels probably 2 years ago now, I think. It's a naturally dyed yarn from Tinctoria. This is the label. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but I picked it up from a lovely yarn shop in Hebden Bridge, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the shop, I'm afraid. Yeah, it was a bit of a holiday souvenir. So 4-ply yarn, 100% wool, the label says, 20 grams, 80 meters. So I used that. It was a nice variegated yarn with some pink and purple, which I thought went really nicely with the Debbie Bliss. And then I used a scrap of Rowan Kid Silk Haze. I'm not sure what colourway this is. I have a bunch of these little skeins left over from a wrap that I made a few years ago, so I grabbed that from my mohair stash and used it to hold double with that mini skein, and I think it worked out really well. It sort of picked up the pinky tones of the mini skein. As you can see there's cream as well in that mini skein, so it toned down the cream sections, but also picked up the tones of the pink and I think it made a really nice contrast for this border. I'm not sure when the pattern will be released. It's still in testing at the moment, and I don't even know if it has a particular name at the moment. I think it was just called Shawl in the notes that the testers received. So yeah, I know some of the testers are still going, but it's a really quick knit, so I'm sure this pattern will be coming up soon. I will be sure to let you know when the pattern is released. If I just pop it on just to show you, it's not a super long shawl, but it wraps around nicely, and yeah, I think it's just really cozy, and I love that pretty sort of edging contrast detail. We'll be sure to let you know when the pattern is released. The final project I have to show you is actually my oldest work in progress on the needles, and I looked it up on Ravelry yesterday, and I cast this on back in May 2018, so it's been on the needles for almost 2 years. And yesterday I had a bit of a low mental health day. I decided to hibernate for a little bit, try and recharge my batteries, and I am happy to say that it did the trick, and I'm feeling much more positive today. But I just wanted to concentrate on one project, and I had, I think, maybe 15 or so rows of colour work and the edging to go on this project. And it is my Vermeer cushion, which is a pattern from the 2017 Shetland Wool Week annual, and it's knit in Jamieson and Smith Spindrift, and it is a cushion or a pillow. So all of my pattern repeats are done, and I've also added that final border on. So for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much finished. It just needs making up into a cushion. The last time I showed this to you, I don't know if you can see that little bulb marker down there, the project was there, so I put in quite a bit of work over the last few weeks, working a row or two here and there, and then when I picked this up yesterday, I think I was somewhere around here, so I added a good couple of inches to this project yesterday, and it was a good one to keep me distracted and keep my mind focused on something other than everything that's going on at the moment. So the pattern now calls for me to cast off this project, but I've left it on the needles for now because my intention is to try and add a zip to one end of this cushion. I've never done that before. I've never added a zip to knitwear, so I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. However, I will need to do it again soon ish if I get to the end of James's sweater. I'm making the Dude pattern by Andrea Wrangle for James. I haven't picked it up for a week or so, but I did show it off last week, I think, and that pattern has a zipped front, so I thought this project might give me a little bit of practice. My thinking is in the end I need to sew up both ends in some way. However, rather than just cast this off and then sew it up, I am thinking to do a 3 needle bind off to close this top end. But in terms of inserting the zip, I'm wondering if it might just give me a little bit of wiggle room, a bit of ease to manoeuvre if I leave this end open for now. I've no idea whether that is actually the case or whether it won't really matter if this end is closed. However, in my head, I think I just want to leave this on the needles for a while until I can insert the zip into this end. So my plan is to soak and block this project. In order to be able to stretch this out to the fullest, I'm going to need to insert another cord in here. As you can see, the cord that I've been working the project on is not big enough to stretch the stitches out in full, but if I take the needles off, insert another cord so that I can lie this stretched out and flat, then I shall leave it to dry for a few days and then come back to it, hopefully pop the zip in here and then close this end off with a 3 needle bind off. We'll see how that works out. I've really enjoyed working this pattern. There's a good 300 odd stitches per round, so it took a little bit of concentration, and obviously I've been working on it on and off for 2 years, but it's only been this last year or so that it's seen a good amount of love. I think when I picked this up again, either at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, I'd only done like one pattern repeat, so I've put a lot of work into this over the last couple of months, and I've really enjoyed every stitch. The only one, and it's not even really a complaint, it's just an observation. When I purchased the yarn, I purchased as the quantities required in the pattern, and I still have loads of yarn left over. So I have everything here in the basket, including 1, 2, 3, 4 entire skeins that I never even used. As well as that, I've got a bunch of leftovers of the various colours and almost another entire ball of the blue. I just had to add that to add a couple of rows to that end blue section. Whilst I am usually of the mind that more yarn is better than not, given that I have plenty left in here of most of the colours, this seems a little bit excessive to me. This yarn's not the most expensive, but it's not the cheapest either. I think it's £3–4 a ball, so I could have saved myself more than £10 by not purchasing this yarn. I'm not annoyed because I love this yarn, and I've got a little stash of Jameson's in one of the containers that I have over the other side of the room, so I will add this to my stash, and it will be nice to have these to pick from in my stash for when I want to do future colour work. I have an acquisition to show you this week, and it's also a little bit of a promotion, so I hope you don't mind me chatting business for a little while. The lovely people at Search Press contacted me last week to say, as a way of helping small businesses in this difficult time, they were able to offer me a promotion code to share with all of my customers, and so they gave me a code, which means that if you enter the code when you go to their website, which is searchpress.com, it will pop up as you go to checkout. If you enter the code, you will receive 20% off your order, and I will receive a small commission for sending the business their way, and they'll send your publication straight out to you, which I thought was a brilliant idea. So of course I had to test the code. I know I'm not really getting anything from it because I'm spending the money to get a little bit of discount and then to get a bit of commission back to myself, but I just wanted to test the code to make sure it was working okay. If you're interested, the code I believe is still up and running. I'm not sure what their postage is like outside of the UK, but if you go to searchpress.com and enter the code DD05 in the promo box, they have a wonderful array of crafting books. But yes, if you do that, then you will be supporting Yarn and Yarns, my small bricks and mortar yarn shop. Anyway, I ordered 2 books, and one of them has arrived this morning, and I'm really excited for this one. It's by one of my favourite crochet designers, Anna Nikki Pirowitz. This book has been newly published. It's called Crocheted Wreaths for the Home by Anna Nikki Pirowitz. So I saw this pop up on her Instagram feed a couple of weeks ago, and when I had the opportunity to use that code at Search Press, I just couldn't resist ordering a copy. There are some absolutely gorgeous designs in here. Obviously I don't want to show you everything in terms of what's in the book, because that will give away the secret sauce, but the contents page has a good selection of pictures showing the projects in this book. So I think I can show those to you. So there's some mini wreaths, a succulent wreath, a Valentine's wreath, there's an autumn wreath, can't read what that says, a berry wreath, Easter, spring, summer, harvest, Halloween, Christmas and winter. And as well as the wreaths, there are a few little garlands dotted in through the book as well. Let me just show you this one. Look at that, how cute are they? So teeny tiny mini Christmas stockings. So I am hoping to do a book review of this and the other book when it arrives. Hopefully that will pop up as a Yarn and Yarns extra soon. I think I'm going to pick a project and start working on it as part of the book review. I don't know which one I'm going to pick yet, but tempted to go with the autumn. Look at those little foxes. I think I'll have a hunt through my stash of scraps and see what I can come up with. So yeah, crocheted wreaths for the home is my acquisition this week. I also want to say, as always, a great big thank you to everyone who supports the channel, either by watching these videos, by sharing that they're watching, thumbs up, subscribing, all of that good stuff. We've had a few new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, so welcome to anyone who is new. Please do leave comments below. I love to chat with you. YouTube has been a little bit of a pain this last week or so. I've noticed that it's stopped sending me notifications when I have comments on the videos. So I'm trying to keep up as best I can. Obviously I'm posting a little bit more at the moment. I haven't managed to vlog daily, but I'm doing it as often as I have the time and the energy, and so a few more videos are going up than usual. I think I'm a couple of videos behind in terms of responding to the comments, so I will try and get back to everyone, but if I miss you, it's just because perhaps you're commenting on a slightly older video and YouTube just hasn't notified me. I'm going back to check the last few videos that I've posted a couple of times a week to try and keep up with the most recent comments, but if you comment on anything older, then I may miss you, so apologies for that. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has been able to leave a donation via the coffee link, which you'll find just below this video, and since I last recorded, I've received £15. I always like to be really open and honest about what I'm receiving through that link. So yeah, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, and if you want to help and support me to continue to pop up these videos, then please do. I actually was a little bit cheeky. Usually I try and put the money directly back into the channel, but I used the money that I received this week to purchase this book. So I hope you don't mind, but eventually, as I say, I hope to do a book review, so I hope that you will forgive me for treating myself, but hopefully you will also get something out of my purchase. I have two make-alongs going on over in the Ravelry group from now until, originally it was going to be till the end of April, but I think given everything that's going on and everything that everyone is dealing with at the moment, I might extend the New Techniques make along till the end of May. So basically just try something new. If you're spending time at home, if you're out of your normal work routine, if you're trying to self-isolate, then maybe this would be a great time to pull some stuff out of your stash and try something you've not tried before. I guess my contribution to the New Techniques make along this week would be this yarn, because I had a go at carding and making some rolags, which I have not tried before. So yeah, anything goes. Knitting, spinning, weaving, embroidery even, I really don't mind. Just try something you have not tried before. Post the picture over in the Ravelry thread. It doesn't have to be a finished object, just a picture of your attempts, and anyone who has uploaded a picture with what they've been doing will be eligible to go into a prize draw that will happen now at the end of May. Also, we have the 12 cast-ons of Christmas year-long make-along going on. So just as a quick recap, in case you are new, I know many of you aren't and you're probably fed up of hearing me say about this, but the end/beginning of the year, I usually take some time to cast on 12 projects, one each day, when I take my Christmas and New Year break. So I invited everyone to join in, and lots of you were able to, which is fantastic. There was no obligation to cast on the 12, just as many as you wanted. And I've got a thread going for the entire year where you can post your finished objects. We're coming up to the end of the first quarter. It's tomorrow, isn't it, the last day of March? So next week on the video, I will do a drawing for the first quarter. So anyone who has popped in a picture of a finished object between January and the end of March will be eligible to go into that prize draw, and I will use a random number generator to pick the winner. So that really is everything for this week. I hope that you are managing to stay safe and well. And if you need some extra company, look out for my Yarn and Yarns extra videos. I'm trying to post as often as I can, and lots of you have very kindly commented to say that you're enjoying that extra content, a little bit of company in your days. So I definitely plan on continuing to post those as and when I can. And I will be back next week with another weekly chit chat of what I have been making, what I've been up to. So until I get to spend time with you again, I hope that you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.